Hello, everyone. Hope you're doing well. Another cozy day. It's foggy, pretty much like London. I remember every time that we traveled to England when we were children with my mother, it was mostly foggy. But we went to Bournemouth, I guess it's called, and that was by the sea, and it had sunny days and it was nice. So hope that you are having a cozy day as well, and hope that you've been putting things that we talked about to work. And through the past few years that we've been together, or some of you know me from the beginning of the videos, and some newly, we have through over 230 or 40 videos tried to together figure out things about our psyche and life and relationship and breakup and so on, and hope that it has brought you to a level that you could handle things better than before. And today we're going to add a little bit to it by going a little bit further, and perhaps that would also be in your archives and help you out. Many of you are devastated or sad or depressed after the breakup. And of course, you know that is because of how you think. Thoughts are memory based. And what's in your memory is not necessarily happy ones. Or if it's happy, you miss it. But the whole reason for feeling the way you feel is because you're thinking based on what your memory has accumulated in it, your consciousness. So you know that you don't have to be sad, but you are, because you're thinking and the thoughts are coming from your memory, and memory contains of the things that you would have liked to be interacting with. So the key would be not to be in the memory, right? Because if you're not in the memory, then you will be fine. Why I say that? Because if you notice, even so you're in sad time after the breakup, but if you're watching a movie with your friends, or if you're in a sporting events that you're busy with, focusing on that basketball or soccer, whatever it is that you're interested, or you're playing the sport, at that time your focus and your thoughts are on that particular thing that is happening at that moment. Whether you're participating in sport, you're watching it, or you're watching a movie, you have gone in that forum, in that whatever it is that is happening. Which means you notice after it's done that you weren't thinking about your sadness, you were not thinking about your breakup, and you were not depressed, you were happy, and everything was fine. Why? Because you didn't remember the subject that is causing you sadness. So it's all about remembering, being in your thoughts, which we come back to thoughts again. So what do we have to do to get out of the memory and not have our thoughts involved, in order to stop bringing these sadness or these things that makes us feel sad about her or about him or whatever your relationship was? How do we do that? Well, there's a section in my book, one of my books, Me, My Psyche and I, that says mind needs a home. And in that chapter I've explained in detail how it works. But for now, I'm going to make it a little bit different and present it to you here. Maybe that will help you out. So how to be away from the memory, it's not that difficult. You remember when you get up in the morning and you go and wash your teeth, and then, I hope you do. Okay. Let me get back to my thoughts. Wash your face. Whatever else you do. It's, sometimes I crack myself up, you know. That's how it is. And then you get to the point that you're combing your hair. Now, when you comb your hair, you're really focused on making the hair to look the way it should. You have no other thoughts in your mind. You're with the actuality and the flow of the moment. The task at hand has taken all your attention, and you're combing your hair so carefully. And your focus is on the hair and the movement of your brush or your comb on your hair. Every second, nanoseconds of what you're doing, your eyes and your hands and your thoughts are on accomplishing that particular task, which means you're with the moment, with the present, with the actuality of life. And for that, your thoughts are nowhere else, let alone the memory. It's busy, it's got a task, and it's focusing on something that has the needs of your thoughts and attention to be on it. Therefore, you are free from the memory and the thoughts are not there. That is how you can be away from the memory, by focusing on the very moment of every second of life as it's happening, as it's arising, as it's moving, as it's being interacted, and as you are making something to happen. You're with the flow of happening, of birth of new activity and new things and whatever it is that you're doing, whether it's combing your hair or washing your face, or if you're taking a shower. Imagine you're shampooing your hair or figuring out which soap or how much I should put on it. All of those thoughts are thoughts of the moment of what you are doing, what you're doing. Your mind, your thoughts is nowhere else but with that, what is happening in that moment that you're trying to accomplish. Your attention is fully on that. And whenever your attention is fully at the moment of the now, the moment which is when the river is flowing right in front of your feet. Remember we said life is a river? What is coming from the mountain is the future hasn't gone to you, hasn't arrived to you. And what is gone already is gone. It's no longer here. Only the part that is passing by you in front of your feet is your zone, is where the things are happening, where you can interact with it, make changes. You can stop the flow of the water, maybe change it towards somewhere else, or affect it, or it can affect you, or you pick up something with it, or you look at its movement as it's happening. It's still there. It's part of your life. Same thing. When you are with the actuality of life, which is, like, for example, if I'm drinking this tea at this moment, if I'm thinking about how hot it is, or feeling how hot it is, or about to, and feel it's, I'm swallowing it and taste and be with that flow, that what is added to my life, and get enjoyment from it. My thoughts are nowhere else but here with my body. I have mind and body coordination fully. My full attention is at the moment of life flowing, happening, right? The part of the river that is passing me by, the part of time, the part of life that is here, now. Now it's gone, no longer. But this is, still, I'm doing something. I can make changes in what I'm doing. I can drink or not drink. This is the moment that things are happening. If I can keep my mind on things that are happening or about to happen, I'm making it happen, I'm somebody in happening of that thing, then my mind is fully paying attention to here and will not be anywhere else. That's when I have separated my mind from the memory. And in the memory, there are things that I don't want to be part of, which brings me pain, such as the breakup, and so on and so forth. If I sit down and constantly think about my father have passed 6 years ago, I was walking at the beach late last night. When I got to the end of it, I sat there looking at the skies, meditating, and thought of my father. And many things was happy about it, and many things I was sad that I don't have him anymore. So whenever you are in the memory, then many things, you're not in control. because you are not with the actuality of what is happening, so it can change as it's happening. It's already, you're dealing with something that's already happened, you have no control on it. So all you do, you react to it, which often is sadness, if it's a sad case. Death, breakup, this and that, so for loss of something. So by paying full attention to every moment of every day of your life, every moment of every day of your life, you have your mind and body all both at the same place. When mind and body is coordinated, the mind is not floating around the memory or anywhere else, and it wouldn't have even a focus of any kind to what you have lost or what you think you have lost. Now about this that you think you have lost, this feeling that you're feeling is really because of the way you're thinking, right? How we feel is because of the way we think. A thought is a feeling, is an emotion, and words express how you're thinking. So instead of you focusing on this particular thought that brings you a certain emotion that you don't like, why don't we change the thought? You know, how you feel is because of how you thought. In one of the seminars that I had recently, a few months ago, in one of the universities locally, and I have the tape of it, video of it on my site, mindthatseekstruth.com. If you go there, there's 12 minutes of it, which is free of charge. You can take a look at it and see the part that I have shown and proven that how thought makes you how you feel, and actually to the point that the way you think can actually get to the point that can changes or affects the law of physics, which you have that on that tape. You can go and watch it. The whole thing is about 15 minutes or 1 hour, but that short portion of it is enough to give you the idea of what I'm talking about. So when you understand that thought is what you make you feel, how it make you feel, then you will realize the important role of thought about how depressed you are, how you feel right now. You see, you chose someone and you think that you have lost someone that was detrimental to your livelihood. But really it wasn't detrimental to your livelihood, it was detrimental to your mood, to your happiness. Why? Because you decided that she or he is responsible for your happiness, not you. So you took the control of you being in control of your happiness and your mood, you gave it to somebody else by thinking that she is the reason for your happiness. But in fact, she is, or he is, depending on what your relationship is creating that pleasure. And you translate pleasure to happiness. And therefore you think that person is responsible for that pleasure only and not nobody else. And you think that person is responsible for your happiness. But in fact, the pleasure is a mechanism and is a program that is inside you. You are the one who feels the pleasure. And you have chosen that person, a person, to be a person who brings you that feeling of pleasure. But ultimately, it is you who feels the pleasure. So really, the boss here, the decision maker of what is pleasure or not, is your thoughts, is you, is the program that you have in here. You decide what is pleasure, what is not. So all you have to do is to realize that what makes you feel pleasure and be happy is you and is inside you, is not in that person. That person was designated by your thoughts to be responsible or to be considered as the pleasure, as the person who brings you happiness. But really, the thought has chosen her to be the one. Not that she is the one. Not that he is the one. Your thought, because it is responding to your desire and your ego, has chosen a certain person to feel good and pleasure by. And therefore, you have chosen her, dubbed her, to be the one. She hasn't done anything or is not the whole thing to be the one for your life. But your thought, for the reasons of feeling pleasure from that what he has chosen to be pleasure for you, has decided that this person is the one. But really, that pleasure that you're after, which is togetherness, bonding, sexual intimacy and all that, that pleasure can also be created by somebody else. If your thought simply chooses to consider that somebody else who can give you exact same feelings of physical pleasure, the intimacy and the togetherness, the bonding and all that. So your thought is the one who's dubbed this to be the one, but herself, by herself, is not necessarily the one. Everybody else can be the one as long as your thought will find enough desire in them, for them, to consider them the one. So you can always have another the one, provided you understand that you are the center of this mood and happiness and the pleasure, not the persons. So when a breakup happens and a relationship doesn't work, then change that echelon, that designation that you have given to this person by your thought as the one. Take that away, because you gave that class to that person, you gave that role to that person when everything was working between you two. You guys were compatible with each other, complying with each other's desires and working well together. When for one reason or one of you changed the mind, because that person is also a person, is a human being, has the same needs that you do, and everything changes in the world, and just because somehow they changed their mind or they've come to some change and they decided that they don't want to be with you anymore, doesn't make you any bad. It just it shows you that they're a human being. They're also subject to changes. So when that has happened and they're changed, so you realize that that person is not the same person that your thought gave them the role of being the one. You can now take that away from them, because that person who used to be so compatible with you and things were working well together was the one that your thoughts dubbed to be the one. Now this person who has, for whatever reason, not with you anymore, decided not to be with you anymore, or however it's broken up, is no longer having that credibility or that characteristics that caused your thought to call that person the one. So take that away from her. Take that away from him. And then you will see that you're not missing him anymore, because your thought has decided she's not the one. But as long as you think this way, then you will miss her. Take that away, because your thought is the one that has chosen her to be the one, not herself by herself to have all that what is necessary for be totally compatible with you. Your thought made her to seem and feel compatible to you, because your desire and your ego wanted your thought to choose that for whatever reason. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. I hope I haven't lost you. So, if you understand that your desire and your ego has caused you to choose someone, then you understand that this, if you disassociate this, what your thought has decided that your desire and your ego would be fulfilled by this person, and take that away and understand that it can be fulfilled by this whole pleasure that you call the intimacy or togetherness, whatever, could also be fulfilled by somebody else, then you will have a freer mental state to understand that this is not the end of the world. That person was not necessarily the holy, the one. It was your thought that considered them to be, and the same way your thought can disconsider them to be and consider somebody else in the future as you chose this one, because this person is also subject to all other changes that happens in the universe, and it is now the same way that things changes. She has changed, and she decided that okay, she's now turned on by somebody else, or for some reason, money or whatever else it is, or he decided that he's turned on by somebody else, or for whatever reason it is, he's changed to go. So it means they're limited. They're not that holy thing and perfect thing that you thought. Because if they were, they would not be subjected to these in these influences or temptations or change of mind and whatnot. They will be stable at all times and fulfill how you feel happy with them. So take that away and focus on the fact that you should be in control of your happiness, not other people. Do not designate other ones to be in control of your mood, your happiness, and your pleasure, and understand that it is you and your thoughts that creates them to be the one, and not the fact that they are so different and so amazingly holy to be the one. And something for you to think about, and I'll rest and see if I can make sense out of what I said. And I hope you will do the same, and talk to you soon.